might as well, you know what I'm saying, tell you my story. You know what I'm saying? Since we beat, I went through a probably a 3-year depression.
Mm.
You know, I got sick basically. Didn't know what the cause of it was, right? So I'm going around doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to try to figure out what's wrong.
Right.
Nobody can tell me anything. Meanwhile, they're experimenting on me, right? Giving me all these medications to try to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Next thing you know, I wind up in the hospital, right? So the doctor comes in, he tells me, look, man, you got a herniated disc. Your nerve is crushed. It might be scarred. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta operate.
Right.
I was feeling so messed up. I was like, well, do what you gotta do, man, because I'm just trying not to feel this way no more.
Right.
Right. So make a long story short, that wasn't a good decision that I made. You feel what I'm saying? Because physically I wanted it, but mentally I wasn't prepared.
Right.
So what I'm saying? I'm married. I you know what I'm saying, I got my mother, my daughter, and my wife. That almost cost me the relationship with all three of them. You know what I'm saying? Because it put me in a state where, shoot, bro, I wasn't taking no showers. I wasn't coming out the house. I wasn't doing anything. You see what I'm saying? And I was just drowning in this pit of purgatory. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, Shaw came over and brothers tried to give me support. But at the end of the day, wasn't nobody gonna save me but me, right?
Yep.
So my mother gave me, she said, you know what, son? You know what you ain't been doing? You ain't been doing no music. You know what I'm saying?
Every time I come over there too.
I'm like, you know what? You right. She said, why don't you try to write me? I picked up a pen, bro, and never looked back. And then it also gave me the ability to spend time with myself. I had to reevaluate who the fuck I was and who I was trying to be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't looked back since. I'm you know what I'm saying? I got back to work. I got my relationships back. You know what I'm saying? I'm striving to be the best me that I could be. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, I love simplicity. I understand now. You know what I'm saying? I used to have this, you know, I didn't have no relationship with the thought of dying.
Right.
Right? Because I never thought about it. But then once I got into this depression, it was a constant thought, right? But then when I started thinking about it more and more and more again, I started to get rid of the fear of it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, they say two things are inevitable, right? Death and taxes. Okay, well, now that I start to think about it within the reality and the realms of my situation, I'm good with it. But while I'm here, I'm going to make sure people know I was here. I'm going to leave something behind for my kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to waste time with the thought anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's basically, you know, what my story is, man, as far as what I was dealing with. And I'm always conscious of making sure that my mental health is where it needs to be. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah.
And so, you know, the Shorty helped me with it a lot. We done had our you know what I'm saying, we were bonded, and then we, you know, everybody had to go through their own journey and figure themselves out. So when a man makes that decision, you got to give him that opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the timing now, we were able to resolve that and learn, you know what I'm saying, what it was that our issues were, solve them, and now here we are coming back together.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is.
I don't know how much Fly said about how much it was like what he went through and his lesson kind of helped him have the inspiration to stand by me when I was just going into that dark time of myself with depression. Like stayed on my couch for months, you know, on end. Fly was coming over at one point. We started working on that project together. Just he was coming at the house almost every day, 10 o'clock in the morning, like we were punching the clock.
That's crazy, yeah.
And bringing other artists through the crib, but we really just having fun making music. But we both knew that we were doing something on to kind of help people going through it. Because I was talking to him a bit about some of the things I was going through. He had an inside look. Very few people had that.
Right.
But that support is part of what also laid the foundation for why it was so important with me with GRYSKLL to push that mental health aspect, because the music made a big difference for him. It made a huge difference for me, and it was a saving grace in a lot of ways, man.
Yeah.
And people say that hip hop saved my life. Hip hop saved whatever that thing. It sounds cliche, or some people say it sounds corny, but when you literally have that experience, man.
Yeah, I mean, I told y'all, like, GRYSKLL is the reason why I'm still alive, because I was done. Like, so I don't know how much you know about me, but I had a stroke and a nervous breakdown. Well, I had a nervous breakdown that led to a stroke in 2021. I was so fucked up. I couldn't walk. I couldn't see out of my left eye. Like, I was just completely, like, I was done. And I don't do hospitals. So my wife is an acupuncturist, and she understands a whole bunch of other shit. So, like, I basically told her if she took me to the hospital, I would make sure that I ended myself. Like, I'm that diehard about that shit, which is, it could be reckless, but but she helped me, kind of bounce back from it. But I worked my ass off to get back to walking, to get back to being able to, talk right and use both of my hands and, do what I need to do. But the depression was just crazy. And then I guess, I don't know what it was that I said or did, but Sha reached out to me on Twitter one day and invited me to, like, just talk. And that kind of set things in motion. And I met She, and, like, now I'm GRYSKLL, and we've been doing this thing. But, like, the music literally saved my life. Like, I stopped rhyming or doing music at all for 20 plus years. Like, I walked away from hip hop as a participant in 2001. That was the last time. The last time was when we went to your studio to record the me and Theus did In and Out, and that was the last. Yeah. I walked away after that and went to corporate America, like, completely. And before Sha reached out to me, I had no, like, even when he reached out to me, I had no interest in rhyming or producing or anything anymore. Like, I was like, y'all some cool cats. I have some beats and shit, check them out. But I wasn't really thinking about, like, I'm not doing this shit no more. And the energy was so dope. Now I'm here, like, let's do this shit. Like, come on, y'all fucking out. Like,
he co-leads the ship, man.
Like, it's crazy.
GRYSKLL wouldn't be what it is without him.
They say misery loves company, right? But energy is infectious, right? So it's like you turned the tables on that shit. We, like, what we call it, shot Tai Chi. Like,
Tai Chi that shit.
Yeah, flip it upside down. Make it work for you as opposed to against you. Let me ask you something. Had any of you brothers ever experienced depression before you had it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it?
Well, actually, I had it since I could tell since I was 13 that I was depressed in some way, but I didn't have the words for it, and I didn't really know the impacts of it, how deep it could get if I wasn't careful and didn't learn how to manage it when it came up. So I was just always in a depressed state, man. But I didn't realize that I lived my whole life in a depressed state. It's just when things got to a certain point, they snowballed, and I didn't know how to release any of that. It just became overwhelming, and it just caused the whole system shutdown. Basically, a reboot is how I feel, because I've been gratefully given the opportunity to meet all of y'all brothers and to have the experiences I've had with you guys, to have hip hop, and then my wife, man. All those things were critical for me. Changing diet played a huge role in it, I think. Learning how to sit with myself and get familiar with myself is starting to help now. I'm still on an ascent coming out of that thing, I think. But I see daylight.
That question, I would say the way you posed it, did you experience it before you had it? And for me, I think I was raised by it. My mother was severely depressed because my father was abusive for the 13 years that they were together. He was an abusive alcoholic. He was a nutcase, a killer. I mean, I could keep adding things on. He basically groomed her and then brought her to Maryland so he could keep her away from her family. And then he abused the fuck out of her from that point. So I was raised in it. Like I literally played in my father's blood when she tried to stab him in the heart, but he blocked it with his arm. And I remember it. I was a baby. You know what I mean? Like, so it was always there with me. When I got older, she explained to me that she actually created a whole world that she lived in her mind, so she didn't have to experience my father. But it also meant that I was neglected. You know what I mean? Like it was just like a whole lot of stuff going on that it took me until I was an adult and starting to experience it myself to realize what she was saying and what she was going through. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know, a lot of it starts with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of trauma. You know, my old dad was a double amputee.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was a big man, but he was kind of like a dude that was always the life of the party. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But he was a drinker too, but he was a happy drunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was a big guy. And a lot of times if you see in tall, large men, they have an attracting power to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So when that was taken away from him, it destroyed him. You know what I mean? And he turned to drinking a lot. You know, because if that stature gets taken away from you, then what, you know what I'm saying? What do you have? Right?
Yeah.
So and then like he would ask me, a lot of that pressure was put on me to try to help him find some sort of happiness, but he just kept on with that bottle. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that seemed to take away his pain. Like so, you know, one morning I came upstairs, he was coughing real bad. So I was like, you know, I had to go to work. I was like, Pop, you all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm gonna be okay. Fine, I'm cool, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last day I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like I had, upon reflection, I thought about it. I was like, you know, he was dealing with depression, right? So I didn't have no understanding of what that was because I never experienced it. But then I saw what it was in him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why I asked that question, because now that I'm dealing with it or was dealing with it, it's like now I got to figure it out. When I, you know, had I known it before, I might have asked questions or I could have helped. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. So, you know.
That's one of the reasons why this forum exists too, man, is like us getting on here and talking about it and recording it, and so that we can try to help some brothers not feel lost if they ever encounter it.
Right.
You know, we didn't have that available, but I mean, I feel like it's a responsibility now that we have the ability to share what we've learned and we'll share our lessons. We don't have to go too much further than that.
Yeah.
And we don't have to make it a you know, turning things into a pity party or anything like that. But just tell the story, man.
But I think at the same time, for me, man, I was like, man, shit. I ain't ashamed of this shit.
No.
Because at the end of the day, it make you who you are.
Yeah.
And I know y'all know, if anybody got kids or, you know what I'm saying, or y'all be around the youth, they cut from a different fabric. You know what I'm saying? They deal with a lot of entitlement. So I was growing up, it was all about trying to build character. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, D.
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
What's good with you, D?
You got
a lot of your mic on the table or something. We getting a lot of feedback from your mic when you was moving.
Yeah. You banging it around.
Like my ship over there. My bad. I went and closed the door real quick.
Sound like you was chewing that bad boy.
You know, man.
What's going on, D?
My bad. What's going on? What's going on?
That's that no label mic. They're just picking up everything.
Man, all the feedback. All the feedback.
Get you a name brand, Jack. No, I'm playing.
Doing this up over here, boy. Nah, but yeah. That's what these Thursdays are for, though. Like sometimes we get into these conversations. Sometimes it's just us shooting the shit, sharing music, whatever. You know, it's.
And I'm sorry, man. I ain't mean that. You know.
No, I'm glad you did it.
Nah, man. That's what the space is for, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We've had several discussions that were necessary. You know what I mean? So yeah, and shoot, it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, sometimes we be on here talking before somebody is ready to get it off. You know what I mean? We'd be in the middle of joking.
Right.
Like, hey, I gotta say something. You know what I mean? But nah,
Yeah.
That's what the space is for, bro.
I didn't broke down just talking about, you know, my marriage and my dying, and you know what I mean? Like that's what the space is.
That's real feel.
Yeah.